On many Minnesota lakes, it has been a spring and summer of weeds.
From curly leaf pondweed to native plants, everything seems to be coming up at the same time. On some bodies of water, weeds have turned into thick mats, and even when they're cleared off, more follow. John Lauritsen shows us why that might be happening and what some lakes are doing to stop it.
We go out there a couple times a year, and this year, the weeds were definitely way worse than other years.
Whether you're fishing, swimming, or boating, you likely have company this summer. In parts of the state, lake weeds have taken over, invading the shorelines and piling up on the beaches. And not just here, but in neighboring states as well.
You have these floating mats of curly leaf, which are also a nuisance recreationally.
Wendy Crowell is an aquatic invasive species specialist with the Minnesota DNR. She believes the cold spring kept plants like curlyleaf pondweed from growing when it normally does. Now it's making up for lost time, while other aquatic plants are ahead of schedule.
What happened is the curlyleaf was delayed, and then the milfoil and the native plants all kind of came up together and early.
The Lake Association at Weaver Lake in Maple Grove has taken a number of steps to cut down on weeds and algae.
Trying to minimize phosphorus going into the lake, making sure, for example, like grass clippings aren't in the road, that they go through the drain and end up in the lake.
With help from a Hennepin County grant, this spring they installed a hydro pump to help with the problem. Boaters can power it up before they enter the lake. When turned on, the hydro pump essentially pushes weeds and algae away from the boat access. The goal is to keep weeds away from boats and keep the invasive vegetation from taking over.
In terms of driving a boat around, it ends up pulling in and clogging up your engine, and it ends up being a nuisance. Hoping that it gets better, and we're trying to do what we can to minimize the impact.
In Maple Grove, John Lauritsen, WCCO 4 News.
While curly leaf and milfoil are invasive species, the DNR says many native plants are also growing earlier than usual. Some lakes are using mechanical harvesters or pesticides to remove pondweed and other invasive plants.